Okay, we're going to look at lesson 1.5 today. We're going to solve one variable equations with one or two steps. Recall when you're solving equations that they're going to have two different sides and they're going to be separated by an equal sign. If there's not an equal sign, it's not an equation. So you have to have an equal sign to be able to solve it. They're solved when the variable is isolated on one side. So it'll be like x equals 4. 2x equals 4 is not solved because you still have a 2 here. Even negative x equals 4 is not solved because you still have a negative. X has to be completely by itself. Make that bigger. Inverse or opposite operations are used to isolate the variable. So if I have x plus 2 is 3, how do I isolate the variable? I'm going to do the opposite of that sign. I got plus 3. The opposite is, plus 2. The opposite is minus 2. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So 2 minus 2 cancels. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I'm going to do the opposite of whatever I see in the problem. And the correct solution will make it true when you substitute it in. So if I substitute that 1 back into my equation, 1 plus 2, that is 3. Does 3 equal 3? Yes. So that is true, and my answer is correct. So let's check these. Let's try them. So if we're looking at addition or subtraction, we want to do the opposite. What operation do we have here? We have plus. What's the opposite of plus? Opposite of addition. Subtracted. So subtract your 5. 5 minus 5 cancels, leaves us with x. 33 minus 5 is 28. So x is by itself, so I'm done. So when I check it, I'm going to take that 28 and plug it back in. So 28 plus 5 equals 33. What is 28 plus 5? That is 33. Does 33 equal 33? Yes. So I know I'm correct. Okay, for the second one, we have x minus 3 equals 17. So what's the opposite of minus 3? A plus 3. So I'm going to add to both sides. That leaves us with x because negative 3 plus 3 cancels. What is 17 plus 3? That is 20. So when I check it, I'm going to plug it back in. 20 minus 3. What is 20 minus 3? 17. Is 17 equal to 17? Yes. So I know my answer is correct. 20. Okay, what about this one? Negative 2x equals 5. So this is negative 2 times x. So what's the opposite of times? Opposite of multiplication? Divided by. So I'm going to divide negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 cancels. That leaves me with x. And then 5 over 2 does not simplify, so we can just leave that negative 5 over 2. We won't deal with decimals. We'll leave everything as fractions. So then when I check it, I'm going to plug it back into x. So negative 2 times negative 5 over 2. This is just over 1, so negative 2 divided by negative 5 is 10. 1 times 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 simplifies to 5. Does 5 equal 5? Yes. So I know this answer is correct. Okay, x over 5 equals 12. When you see a fraction, fractions are just division. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. You always multiply by what is on the bottom. Let me say it again. This is the most missed thing. You always multiply by what is on the bottom. It doesn't matter what's down there. Multiply it out. You don't multiply anything else. Multiply the bottom. So that'll cancel and leave us with x. 12 times 5 is 60. So when I check it, I'm going to plug it back into x. 60 divided by 5. What is 60 divided by 5? 12. Does 12 equal 12? Yes. So I know my answer of 60 is correct. Let's try a couple more. So x plus 12 is 10. What operation do we have on x? We have plus 12. What's the opposite? Minus. So I'm going to subtract that 12 to the other side. That leaves me with an x. 10 minus 12. That is negative 2. Once x is by itself, you are done. Okay, this one, negative 2 equals x minus 9. Now your x is on the opposite side, but we still want to solve this side with x. What is with x? X has a minus 9. How do I get rid of minus? What's the opposite? Plus. So I'm going to add 9 to the other side. That leaves me with an x. Negative 2 plus 9 is 7. Negative 7x equals negative 91. This negative 7x, there's no sign in the middle of those because it is multiplying. So what's the opposite of negative 7 times x? Divided by. So I'm going to divide that negative 7. Negative 91 divided by negative 7 is 13. Once x is by itself, you are done. Okay, x over 9 equals negative 4. Again, those fractions, those mean division. How do I get rid of division? What's the opposite? Multiplication. And remember, you always multiply by what is on the bottom. So multiply 9. That leaves me with an x. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. So if you're not sure what to do if you have more than one step, we talked about order of operations a couple days ago. To solve an equation, you're just doing that backward. So take your GEMDAS, your grouping, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, but do it backward, which turns into sad Meg. She's so sad right here because she doesn't like solving equations because she gets confused on what to do. But if you follow sad Meg, it will tell you what to do. So do you have subtraction or addition? Like here, 5x minus 8 equals 32. We have subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is to add it, which is what I showed you over here. That'll go away, give us 5x equals 40. Then with our x, do we have any multiplication or division? Yes, this is 5 times x. So to get rid of that, I'm going to divide, which is shown right here. That'll cancel. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And then you just plug that 8 back into x to check it. 5 times 8 is 40. Minus 8 is 32. 32 does equal 32. So we know we're correct. Okay, there's one more example worked out for you right here. I'm going to go down to C because this one's already worked out for us. So remember, follow sad Meg. So for C, looking at x. Always look at x. Looking at x, I'm actually going to highlight it. Do we have addition or subtraction on that side? It's plus 6. What's the opposite of that? A positive 6. I'm going to subtract. So bring down my 3x. Negative 18 minus 6 is negative 24. Still looking at x. Do I have any division or multiplication? I have multiplication. That is 3 times x. How do I get rid of it? The opposite is to divide. So x equals negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. And then I can check it by just plugging it back into x. And we can solve this out using order of operations. So regular order of operations. So we got, there's nothing to do inside the group. There's no exponents. We can multiply. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Positive times negative is negative, so we'll bring down a negative. And then addition, subtraction. 6 minus 24 is negative 18. Does negative 18 equal negative 18? Yes. So we know our answer over here is correct. Okay, D. Looking at x. Looking at that side, do we have subtraction or addition? Yes, we have a plus 5. The opposite of that is minus 5. Take it to the other side. 12 minus 5 is 7. On our x, do we have any multiplication or division? Yes, this is negative 3 times x, so the opposite is to divide. So x equals 7 and 3 have nothing in common, so we're not doing decimals, so we just bring that down. And let's check it, because 703 is a very weird answer, so we definitely need to check it. So 12 equals negative 3, negative 7 over 3 plus 5. To multiply this out, you can just put this over 1. I'm going to carry it up here a little second. So negative 3 times negative 7 is positive 21. 1 times 3 is 3. 21 over 3 is 7. So I'm going to bring down a 7 for all of that. And then 7 plus 5 is 12, just following our order of operations. Does 12 equal 12? Yes. So we know our answer here is correct. Okay, E. So we're looking at, to solve it, SAD, MEG, your order of operations backward. Do you see subtraction or addition on your x? Yes, I'm subtracting 3, so the opposite of that is plus 3. Bring your x over 6 down. 8 plus 3 is 11. Do we see any division or multiplication on x? Yes, this is x divided by 6, so we multiply division. Multiply out your division. So 11 times 6 is 66. And then we can check it. Plug it back into your x. And then order of operations. We got this group right here, which is your division. So 66 divided by 6 is 11. 11 minus 3 is 8. Does 8 equal 8? Yes. Okay, F. Looking at x. SAD, MEG. Do we see subtraction or addition? Yes, we have this positive 8 right here. We get rid of that by subtracting 8. So negative 12 minus 8 is negative 20. On your x, next part of SAD, MEG, do you have division or multiplication? You're dividing 2. The opposite of that is to multiply it out. So x equals negative 20 times 2 is negative 40. If I want to check it, I'm going to plug it back in. And then order of operations. This group, this fraction, that's your division. So negative 40 divided by 2 is negative 20. This positive negative, that's going to be a negative. And then 8 minus 20 is negative 12. Does negative 12 equal negative 12? Yes. Okay, sometimes you're going to get fractions on both sides, and those tend to be a little harder to work with for some people. We have a very easy method to do these. Fractions are just division. We've talked about that a couple times. How do we get rid of division? We do the opposite. What is the opposite? Multiplication. But we have a fraction on both sides, so which one do we multiply? Both of them. This is, y'all probably learned it in middle school, it's the butterfly method. And we just drew lines right here, but you can do the butterfly method. Both sides. 3 times x is 3x. 2 times 5 is 10. Then after that, what operation do you have? What is on x? Do you see subtraction or addition on x? No. Do you see multiplication or division? Yes, that is 3 times x. So we divide that, 3 is supposed to be there. We divide that 3 out. And then 10 over 3 does not simplify, so you can just leave it like that. And then if you want to check it, which I highly recommend, you just plug it back into x, and the check is over here. So that 10 over 3 divided by 2, that's just taking half of it. So then you can multiply across. 10 times 1 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6. 10 over 6, 2 goes into both of those. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that is true. If you don't want to do butterfly method, you could just multiply out that 2 on the bottom of x. You will have to multiply by the fraction. Some people don't like that, but it actually is a little bit shorter. But you can do either way. Multiply out the bottom of x or do the butterfly method. So I'm going to do one more example that's not on here. So if I have x over 4 equals, let's go 7 over 2. I'll do butterfly method, then I'll do the other way. So if I want to do butterfly method, 2 times x is 2x. 4 times 7 is 28. This is 2 times x, so I divide to get rid of 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. If I just want to do it the other way, I'll write it over here. Same exact problem, but if I don't want to do butterfly method, you can just multiply out the bottom of your x to the other side. Now you will have to put it over 1. 7 times 4 is 28. 2 times 1 is 2. And 28 divided by 2 is 14. So you'll get the same answer either way. Okay, last example. If you have a fraction on one side and then just a regular number on the other, but your fraction has a number on the top and the bottom, you can flip it upside down and do the inverse, which is just the opposite. So instead of 2 over 3, you'll multiply by 3 over 2, and you're just flipping it. So your 2's and 3's will cancel, and you multiply it on the other side. You do have to put 10 over 1, but 10 times 3 is 30. 1 times 2 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Another way you could do this is like we've been doing with division. Multiply out the bottom. So multiply 3 on both sides. That'll cancel your 3 over here. Bring down your 2 and your x. And then 10 times 3 is 30. And then you just have to get rid of that multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Divide your 2 out. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So regardless of which way you do it, you can do it in 1 step or 2 steps, you'll still get 15. Most people do it in 2 steps just because they don't remember the first one, but either way is fine. To check it, I'm just going to plug that 15 back in, which we did over here for you. I'm going to put that over 1. 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 1 is 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. And yes, 10 does equal 10. So that is true. We had a couple more examples on these, so we can try it out. I'll do one of each method, and you can decide which method you want to do later. So this one, I'll just multiply out the bottom. So if I multiply the bottom to the other side, that's going to leave me with a 4x. Negative 8 times 9 is negative 72. To get rid of 4 times x, I'm going to divide. So x equals negative 18. And then I can check that by plugging in my negative 18. So 4 over 9 times that negative 18 equals negative 8. I'm going to put that over 1. 4 times negative 18 is negative 72. 1 times 9 is 9. Negative 72 over 9 is negative 8. And negative 8 does equal negative 8. So I know my answer is correct. Now if you want to do the other way, like I said, that's just flipping your fraction. So instead of negative 6 over 5, let me erase that real quick. Get that out of my way. So instead of negative 6 over 5, I'm going to do negative 5 over 6. It'll cancel your 5s, your 6s, and your negative. Just carry that over to the other side. Put your 12 over 1. 12 times negative 5 is negative 60. 1 times 6 is 6. Negative 60 over 6 is negative 10. And I can always check it by plugging it back in. Negative 6 over 5 times negative 10. I'm going to put that over 1. Negative 6 times negative 10 is negative 60. 5 times 1 is 5. Ooh. Oh, hold up. Wrote a negative. Okay, negative 6 times negative 10 is positive. Negative times negative is positive. Bring down my 12. 60 divided by 5 is 12. And yes, 12 equals 12, so I know my answer is correct. So you can go try the practice for those now.